What's up guys, Mickle here, and for a very long time now, there has been a narrative in the XRP community that the way the new financial system was going to be ushered in was through a major cyber attack and institutions would be forced to adopt a new system. Well, funny enough, right now we see a massive amount of cyber attacks happening to some of the biggest institutions in the world. I want to talk about what this means for Ripple and XRP because we actually just got a brand new interview from a bank currently using Ripple, and he talks about how he adopted the network to help hedge his bets against the Swift system. In this video, I want to talk about whether or not Ripple and XRP realistically could be the solution to the massive cyber attacks happening around the world right now. Make sure to stick around for this whole thing. You are not going to want to miss it. We're also going to talk about a brand new interview from Brad Garlinghouse at the end of the video, so make sure to stick around for that. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, Uphold is currently giving away 50,000 XRP. You do not want to miss out on that. Go to the link in the description of this video and sign up for Uphold now. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So like I said in the beginning of the video, we're actually seeing a massive amount of cyber attacks happening right now in the world, and these aren't just small cyber attacks. Earlier today, we saw the Federal Reserve security system actually got hit with a major cyber attack and actually brought the entire thing down. And also on top of that, we saw one of the largest banks in China also get hit by a cyber attack, and apparently this cyber attack brought the entire treasury market to its knees. Now, this is pretty wild because for those of you who know about the treasury market, you would know it is literally probably the most important market in the world right now. So the fact that cyber attackers or cyber criminals could bring down the entire treasury market is extremely alarming, and all these narratives that were kind of floating around the XRP community about cyber warfare actually bringing down the entire financial system, well, it looks like if they could take down one of the biggest markets in the entire world, that very well could be true. It's important to understand that our traditional financial system right now is based on extremely outdated technology. There are likely many more cyber attacks than we hear about every single day happening all over the world, but they keep it from us because they really don't want to alarm the public. Our financial system right now is built on extremely outdated information, and it is extremely vulnerable to cyber criminals. Because of that, I think we're seeing a massive rise in this cyber warfare as these different criminals gain access to stronger technology like artificial intelligence that can easily cripple these systems. Like I said earlier, these cyber criminals have access to technology at a much quicker rate than the big institutions. The big institutions have to go through all these processes to update and change things. They have to go through all these formal tests. They have to go through all these different ways of training their employees to interact with the new systems. They need to get all kinds of different approvals from regulators to update the systems and implement them. Meanwhile, cyber criminals don't care. They'll just build a new tool or a new virus to attack these systems, implement it instantly, and they don't have to follow any of the red tape that the big institutions have. Because of that, they're always one step ahead, and I think what we're seeing right now with the advent of AI is these cyber criminals really starting to make some progress in bringing down these big institutions. So I want to talk about now and kind of transition to the fact, is Ripple and XRP a solution to this? Can XRP actually offer something to fix this problem in our current financial system? And I think the answer to that is yes. But before we break down that, I quickly want to show you that institutions are already fully aware of this. This is actually the CEO of CIMB Bank talking about this exact thing. Hey, right now, Swift is a dominant network for payments, but we need to make sure there are other options available because the world we are heading into is much different than the world we came out of. For a long time, our financial infrastructure was extremely safe. There really wasn't the tools in order for criminals to break in and bring the system down. But that is changing rapidly, and what you're going to hear right here is it is becoming more important than ever to hedge your bets and make sure you're not fully exposed to one system. Listen up to this.
I'm a markets person, and I always advise my clients to hedge, right? So, I would say that, you have the current SWIFT network, right? And I think probably that will continue for a while. But, you have the emerging networks like Ripples and other network, right?
So I think that's pretty interesting, and I'm just going to cut it off right there because there's nothing else important. But first of all, he says right here, you need to hedge. You need to make sure you are exposed to multiple different networks. That used to not be the case. But that simple statement right there is a massive change from how the old world used to work. You used to just get on Swift and you were all set. You had everything you needed. But the world we're heading into, all these systems are a lot more vulnerable. So you need to make sure you have other options to serve your clients. The other thing I find interesting is it seems like whenever people are talking about these systems and talking about Swift, whenever they talk about a new system rivaling Swift, it is almost always Ripple and XRP. It seems like Ripple and XRP are the obvious competition to a system like Swift, and the thing we know is it is exponentially better. Swift does not offer settlement. That is something XRP adds to the Ripple network that Swift will never be able to do. So now let's talk about whether or not XRP actually makes a difference when it comes to these cyber attacks. And I think it 100% does. At the end of the day, the biggest issue with the structure of our current financial system is it's centralized. You find one weak point, you enter that weak point, and you bring down an entire system. And once you break down one part of the system, the entire thing crumbles. It's like a stack of Jengas. You might be able to poke out a couple things and nothing happens, but if you poke out the right thing, you can make the entire thing fall apart. That is not the case with cryptocurrencies because they are distributed and decentralized in nature. You can't take down one thing and topple the XRP network. If that was possible, it would have already been done. That's why Bitcoin has been up and running for so long. That's why XRP has been up and running for so long. These are extremely resilient networks because they are distributed and decentralized. Think how easy it is for cyber criminals to attack one weak point of the Swift network. It's not hard for them because they only have to focus all their energy on one single thing. But when it comes down to bringing down the XRP ledger, you need to focus on hundreds of validators all around the world. That is exponentially harder than what is being done in the current system. And that's why at the beginning of the video, I was mentioning the fact that they need to update these systems not only because they are faster and more efficient, but because they offer security that is currently not available in our traditional financial system. Right now, we are running our financial system on legacy, outdated infrastructure. We have hackers who have stronger tools to break down these networks and really compromise them in ways we have not seen before. The solution to that is to update the infrastructure. It's to build our financial infrastructure on new rails, on new technology that cannot be corrupted by single attacks by these cyber criminals. That's why I think we see bank CEOs all over the world now talking about, hey, we need to hedge our bets against the SWIFT system and look to adopt new technologies that are going to be more resilient in the world we're heading into. And I want to finish this video off and just show you a clip of Brad Garlinghouse talking earlier today. This is kind of unrelated to what we just covered, but like I always say, when Brad Garlinghouse, when David Schwartz, when Stuart Alderati, when these very important people at Ripple talk, I think it's super important we listen up. So I'll let this clip take us out.
Ripple has wrapped up its flagship Swell conference here in Dubai. I spoke with Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse on stage at the event. I asked about Ripple's battle with the Securities and Exchange Commission over the status of its XRP token and what Ripple's recent court win means for the scope of SEC power over the crypto space. Listen in.
Ripple has had 3 consecutive victories over the SEC on this. First, the judgment on July 13th saying very clearly XRP is not in and of itself a security. Second, the denial by the court for their request for an interlocutory appeal. And third, the dismissal with prejudice, the allegations against Chris Larson and myself. So, look, one of the things that people talk about is one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and thinking you'll get a different outcome. The SEC is doing the same thing over and over again, and they think, I guess, they're going to get a different outcome. At some point, and you and I talked also backstage about a Grayscale also had I think, an important victory in the United States about the Bitcoin ETF, where the judge, again, this is a federal judge talking about a federal agency in the SEC saying, quote, the SEC is being arbitrary and capricious. Generally, judges tend to be pretty, down the middle and try to not be dramatic. Like, those are damning words. So I think at some point the SEC has to step back and realize that their approach of regulation through enforcement, let's just bring lawsuits, that has to break.
So walk me through the next steps in this case. Today was the deadline for the briefing schedule for remedies. The SEC wants something like $770 million in disgorgement.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Well, I in a session that I did in Washington yesterday, I made the joke around, I'd like to see the Vegas odds on, what could be what's called the remedies from the case. Look, I think the SEC, in my opinion, has lost sight of their mission to protect investors. And the question is, who are they protecting in this journey? And it turns out that the judge will make a decision about remedies. We actually welcome that. I think that in this case, you look at what investors were harmed, and you also have to look at the securities laws and understand, are there exemptions for institutional and accredited investors and things like that? But look, I think it is a positive step for the industry, not just for Ripple, not just for Chris and Brad, but for the whole industry, that the SEC has been put in check in the United States. And I'm hopeful this will be kind of a thawing of the permafrost in the United States for really seeing an amazing industry that has immense potential thrive in the largest economy in the world.